Okay, move. There we go. Yeah. Do that. That. If I keep moving, is my character gonna come up with half the body? I think not, but I will shrink my character slightly more, just in case. I intentionally make it bigger because it's such a shame that people cannot see the details on my character. I think I'm just gonna make it shrink down and height a little bit lower. And I think that's good. Let's load the game into the Erebonian embassy. So last time, like what happened in the game, is that we are in the we just entered Calvadian embassy. We seek the ambassador. I think I forgot her name. Take a Cochrane to ask about the culprit. The whole thing about this. Actually, what are we investigating? We are investigating letters that have been frequently and steadily have been spread out, right? And this is like the threat letters that's attempting to obstruct, and it has been delivered across the capital. So we are basically being the detective here. Well, we've been doing this work. I noticed that we have been doing a lot of this type of work, like detective, like the police in the second game. Because I still remember vividly in the first game that this is not the thing that we usually do. What are we called again? Bracer usually do a things like peace, fighting monsters, executive job that have something to do with clearance, like monster clear, stuff like that. Searching for things that is like revolve around dangerous or enemies. But this is something else. This is more like a government related, which they already said that this is not a thing that Bracer usually do. But I guess it can be helped because this is also have something to do with. I would have assumed have something to do with the Ouroboros. That's for sure. So right now we are in the Erebon Embassy. We have 4 places that we have to go and check it out. We have to check it out these 4 areas and see, and it leads to the threats letters, right? And in the Calvadian Embassy, we didn't learn anything, but we did learn a little bit about the lost child stuff, the merchant couple. We did ask a little bit about the merchant couple that's gone and left their child alone. Hello, Clover. Gonna get some to check in. You have 27 eggs now. Hello, how's it going? Are you like on the leg right away? Okay. Now I feel like in the Erebonian embassy as well, there will be books, if I'm not mistaken, that I can read. A lot of books. And I intentionally save it from last time to another stream, just today. The Carnelia series, oh no. I feel like I'm not. We're just gonna read it real quick, huh? Yeah. The Imperial Chronicle. I stood there upright in front of the revolving door, scuffing the heels of my boots against the ground, pulling slightly on the collar of my trench coat. I dropped my chin and gazed at my partial reflection. Lower the music a little bit. Maybe it just gone lower on the OBS. Oh, mana OBS. Dia lebih like that, yeah, maybe. And then, okay. Drop my chin and gaze at my partial reflection in the curved glass. Aside from my short cropped hair, ooh, I wore a modest-looking double-breasted leather raincoat and a pair of special order steel-reinforced boots, both of which at first glance appears to be the most common apparel. Yet they were in fact much more than the naked eye could detect. My ordinary average appearance, it was of just as much importance today as it had been on any other day in time past. Not far off, the sound of footfalls echoed rhythmically, like the steady beat of a pendulum swinging back and forth as the throngs of those coming and going moved quickly along the cobblestone avenue, enveloped and tinged silver by the morning mist. Hold! I got headache by just reading that. At times, the calling voice of a street peddler disrupted the steady flow, but as soon as the hawking cry faded away, it would resume its course. Each morning that I found myself setting foot in the imperial city, I also found my surroundings to be unchanged and stained by the same somber tone of grey. Snatching up a magazine from the underarm of a street vendor, I tossed a few mirror into the left hand poised expectantly behind his back. The Imperial Chronicle, the magazine I read so often that even the ink bleeds were familiar. Roughly flipping open its cover, I scanned at the headlines along the top of its monochrome pages. Then, suddenly my breath caught in my throat. At the very bottom of the local news page, I found those letters, the sequence of characters which I had not heard nor seen since at the time of that life-changing incident. War? My eyes instantly gravitated to the spot and for a time remained fixated. Ein Solnate. The very meaning of these letters became lost to my senses as I stood motionless, my gaze fixed on the same line of text until it all seems to coalesce into a single blush of ink. After a few seconds of bland comprehension, my vision settled and I wrenched my eyes to the beginning of the article. As I began to read, my memories verged on a single point in my past and then slowly started to run in reverse, heading for the fateful event 3 years prior when this name was first introduced to me. It was on an afternoon after all those years ago, on a day not unlike this one, where the capital was overshadowed by its typical gloomy aura. I was a little younger than now, a 22-year-old boy who stood silently in front of the boutique door as usual, double-checking his appearance before lightly treading over to Mitch Imperial Factory. It was on this day that it had been arranged for me to receive a new job from Mitch, the shop owner himself. Although he was a drab middle-aged man, I, being the Orkman enthusiast, okay, interesting. I, being the Orkman enthusiast, had found myself as one of his few regular customers. Okay. I headed down a dank alleyway, then after passing through a partially rotted wooden gate, I could see the soft glow of the flickering orbital light just outside the entrance of the factory, whose structure was halfway below street level. I first began receiving jobs from Mitch about the time when dissension began to occur in society over the 100 Days War, and it was during the period the relations between the Liberal Kingdom and the Empire were at their worst, and the importation of ornaments had become almost non-existent. Conspiring with underground elements and planning a smuggling operation. They do? Oh, okay. Mitch made me out to be his accomplice in crime, for the job which I received by his hand was none other than of that courier. Being nothing more than a commoner in my teens at the time I met him and a juvie devoid of any connections in life. Besides, I naturally jumped at the opportunity without a moment's hesitation. Yet, even after relations with Liberal had returned to some degree of normalcy, I realized I was in no mood to give up my specialty, which focused mainly on the delivery of stolen goods. The reason being there was no job out there which could bring in the kind of mirror this one did, of course. With an unrefined and inconspicuous appearance, I had countless times before hidden items of various sort in my head and started to make my way hither and thither between the borders of these neighboring nations. And though to my delight, my wallet had become increasingly laden with a bounty of monetary rewards, I had routinely changed my alliance as a precautionary measure. So much, in fact, that these false names had built up into quite a list. Over the last few years, I had been known as Phil, the frivolous Rooney, the trickster, and even Chris, the coward. However, Mitch had always called me by one name, Toby. This is Toby Maguire. This was the this was the identity I had used for my initial job, and the one I liked above all the others. I was smuggling orbs. Alright. 6th chapter. And chapter. Yeah. The train station. Hello there, Toby. You have come at just the right time. Greetings me with this word. Mitch shuffled slightly in his seat behind the counter. The baked confection he had been eating was ever so carefully placed atop his lap to prevent it from falling onto the floor. He smacked both of his powdered sugar-covered hands together with a clap, and a cloud of white particles puffed into the air. The smell of sweet spices and baked apple pervaded the dimly lit shop. We had an item drop off no more than a few minutes ago, he continued. Sitting in his seat, Mitch reached back and snatched up something wrapped in old magazine paper from all over the shelf, tossing it to me, knowing full well I wouldn't get any sort of answer. I asked anyway. What do I have this time? Laying out my railway and airship tickets, Mitch ignored my question and said, Make sure this gets the same place as always. In his slow drawl, he added, It would be in your best interest to keep your involvement to a minimum by leaving the business side of things to me and focusing solely on getting the job done, Toby. He leaned back in his chair and let out a deep sigh, the balls of his fingers kneading their backs under his eyes. Then once again his large hand extended down towards the unattended cake resting on his legs. Alright. Okay. Before the sweet thread could reach his watering mouth, I had already made my way out of the door of his tiny shop. You don't have a table? That's my main concern. As I walked, the waste paper bundled package bounced around inside the folds of my back. By the feel of its shape and weight as it bit steadily against my side, I concluded that the object in my possession was probably just more swag. What's that mean? I don't get it. It didn't make me nervous not to know what it was that I was carrying, for I had done this type of job many times before. Oh, he was just doing the stolen goods, right? Stuff. And he's the one delivering it. And no matter what kind of trouble, so I thought he was only doing Ortman. And no matter what kind of trouble I found myself wrapped up in, I had always somehow managed to come out unscathed. In truth, my experience on the job had made me tough, and I had become well versed in the art of orbital magic. So it was that when I laid eyes on the rough-looking trio at the station, I felt no more knots of uneasiness in the pit of my stomach than was necessary for someone of my abilities. The platform for the train bound for Libel was a bustle with passengers awaiting its eventual arrival. Seeing that the branches were so crammed full of people that they could have very well been a tin of packed sardines, I resigned myself to standing near the entrance as I passionately wait for the train to come in. Twisting my body in order to move the bag to my other shoulder, I noticed the figures of two men. Heads bent together and conversing in an inaudible tone, they stood just beyond the ticket gate. Oh, is this when he's gonna get caught? Right about where the horse head of the Imperial emblem lay embedded in the ground in a grand mosaic of tiles. After a short interim, another man approached and joined in the conversation. From my own perspective, this was one ragtag group I most certainly couldn't have given a passing grade to based on looks. All three were extremely well built, okay, and sported the same haircut. To put it mildly, they stuck out in the crowd like a bunch of sore thumbs. Making sure to avoid eye contact with them as they glanced in my direction. I slung my bag back into my shoulder, and ever so calmly reached my hand into my pocket and ran the tips of my fingers across the surface of my ornament. A woman's voice reverberated within the walls of the station, notifying the passenger she's in the wall. That the train had arrived, the low rumble of an orbital engine could be felt in the distance, and after a few moments, a large vehicle was seen rolling up on the shoulder. I muttered to myself, "All is well," but the sound of my voice was drowned out by the din of the massive machines. Brakes screeched, and a flash of black light reflected off the surface of the giant iron beast as it came sliding in across the rails. The immense vibration in the air emanating from the moving locomotive at its epicenter let me know that the orbital engine had been put into full reverse in order to decelerate and bring the train to a grinding halt. While being shoved to and fro by the wave of impatient travelers flooding out of the waiting area. Is it gonna lose the thing that he carrying? I was swept towards one door of a passenger car. As we passed by the conductor, I caught another glimpse of the ticket kit. The men who were once there were now gone, and the only thing that remained was a profile of the horse made of glossy tans glaring back at me in a shade of deep crimson. It's really hard to understand. And most of the words that we're using, mostly it's just the words. Okay. Drink first. Representatives of the Septian Church. The train battled on, almost flying through the thick veil of fog. Droplets of water splattered against the window glass, extending out like transparent veins. It continued to wriggle back and forth under the pressure of the swiftly passing wind. Placing the temple of my head against the glass, I stared blankly down the tickets in my hand and rubbed the two of them together between my fingers. I would be traveling by the train to the border city far south of its imperial cousin, and then, to reach the Libel Kingdom, I would have to transfer to an airship. Both of my tickets were first class, but not the highest end seats available. The passenger car was nearly at full capacity, but for some peculiar reason, nobody had seated themselves in the space next to mine. As I mused about the empty seat, it occurred to me that Mitch may have purchased the spot ahead of time. Oh, that makes sense. Leaving it vacant on purpose, there was no doubt in my mind that he was being paid handsomely to make sure this job was done and done well. Will you be traveling to the Libel Kingdom, sir? Right around the time my trip on the rails had passed in halfway mark, I was met with this sudden question and set up with a start. My eyes searched for the one who asked it. There, standing in the aisle, was a single woman with a radiant complexion. Beaming down at me, she wore a coat with overlapping buckles secured 1, 2, slightly above her breast and appeared to be in her mid-30s. Gingerly bending her knees and pointing her fingers at the empty seat beside me, she asked, "Do you mind?" With a tilt of her head, she indicated the rear of the passenger's car where swirling smoke saturated the air and softly muttered, "What?" I feel like swirling smoke saturated the air. It's a little bit. I didn't understand that. The smell from the tobacco smoke is just dreadful. Oh, the original seat that she's having. Okay, well, wordlessly I nodded and dragged my bag from its place on the floor, moving it over by the window to the opposite side of my feet. The woman expresses her thanks and delicately sat herself down and sit next to mine. For being a perfect stranger, she talked on endlessly, which is really open. And I appropriately reciprocate the conversation by saying that I was on my way to the Libel Kingdom on business as an Ortman specialist. Okay. Her story was that she was on a mission of mercy for the church and had an errand to fulfill in the border city. Just so you know, people sometimes refer to me as sister, she went on. Of course, it's just a nickname. She recrossed her black leather boot-clad legs and let out a sort of suppressed titter from the back of her throat as she made mention of this. Sister Carnelia was her name. That was the book name! Carnelia. We continued on this fashion, subjecting ourselves to a variety of idle banter. And as the time drew on, the sun of her head began to dip in its arc, crossing the celestial meridian and descending into the west. Oh, very high language. Each time the moving train cleared a grove of trees, the entire vehicle, passenger's car, and all was bathed in a warm apricot apricot hue. Flooding into the cabins, creating a majestic spectacle. I give it a coruscating effect, and in doing so, lock eyes with Sister Cornelia right at the moment the brilliance of the sinking western light seeped into her rich brown irises. Oh, you put ES on iris? Causing them to give off an exquisite rubescent sparkling. The glimpse made me wonder if the origin of her nickname was somehow related to the color of her eyes being likened unto the luster of a polished carnelian stone. Ooh. Carnelia is a stone. The train gradually began to decelerate, and Sister Cornelia returned to her original seat in order to collect her bag. And as a matter of habit, I checked my bag and ointment and found both the junk pepper cover package and the magical device fastened into my trousers. Okay, they were still there. I thought for sure that he's gonna lose it. And also the item that he's getting is for sure the ointment and the device stuff technology. Okay. The jump paper cover package and the magical device fastened into my trousers inner pocket by a series of chain stitches exactly where and how I left it. A woman's voice came over the intercom system announcing that the train would be arriving on schedule at the rain and that rainy weather was to be expected at our destination. At the conclusion of the announcements, a number of disappointed sighs could be heard coming from along the rows of seats. Raindrops pattered against the windows outside as the looming silhouette of the overcast city came into view. The station signal lamp emitted an angular light which was scattered with a reflective effect by the falling droplets of water. Then came a spine-chilling metallic sound, followed by the jolt of the Orwell engine's reversing thrust as the locomotives at the front of the train lurched to a halt. There we go again. The train stopped. Over the loudspeaker came another announcement asking passengers to ensure that they did not leave their baggage behind, and with that several people stood up and crowded. This whole paragraph could just say that train stop. But I like the way of the using all of the flowery words. Next page. And with that, several people stood up and crowded into the Isley, watching a station worker in uniform as he waved a small flag amidst the falling rain, pick up my bag, and rose to my feet. I crossed past Sister Cornelia as I attempted to step into the Isley. But when she tried to step aside and allow me room to pass, she suddenly tripped and fell forward. Oh no. Grabbing onto my shoulder for support. Oh, she didn't fall. She picked herself up and with an embarrassed smile. Oh, wait. She tripped and fell forward, grabbing onto my shoulder for support. She picked herself up. Okay, so half fair, half not. She picked herself up and with an embarrassed smile let me by. I gave a short bow in line with general etiquette practices. Then headed for the exit ahead of her. Following my lead, Sister Cornelia shuffled along closely behind me. So close, in fact, that it felt as if she would step on my heel. Oh, something about it just doesn't feel right. I feel like she's a spy, instinctively sliding my right. Because I think the Sisters of the Church in this game, like, they usually travel to do the delivery things, right? Not even the sister, even the leader, even the father also travel a lot. They could be perfect for spy for government. But we'll see. Instinctively sliding my right hand into my pocket, I searched for my ointment, but the breast feeling I had grown accustomed to was nowhere to be found. In an instant, I felt my arm being twisted behind my back by someone or something with incredible strength. The slick sound of a blade being unsheathed, and then a warning prick of the tip at my back indicated the seriousness of the situation. I have what you are looking for, Toby. Oh no, whispered Sister Cornelia in an almost inaudible tone, her lips barely moving, just behind my right ear. Let's not try anything either, shall we? I hate to see your afternoon spoiled any more than it's going to be. And to show that she meant business, Sister Cornelia slightly altered the angle of her grip on my wrist, causing an explosion of agony that sent sparks flashing behind my eyes. Agony. Human father. What? Sister Cornelia spoke to me in a tender tone as she sent a wave of immense pain rushing through the whole of my right hand. I won't have any trouble with you, now will I, Toby? She asked, far from eyes just brimming with tears. I nodded my head in concern as the salty streams of water ran down my face. Satisfied with my answer, she loosened her grip and I felt the pain vanish as if it had all been some sort of illusion. With a wry smile, she further added, don't get me wrong, Toby. I have been sent here to protect you by the goddess herself. What? This is what she said while instructing me to keep my eyes focused on what lay beyond the window glass. Yet there was something about the way she pronounced the last syllable of my name that really rubbed me the wrong way. Little by little, the line of passengers slowly began to flow out of the train car. Prodded on by Sister Cornelia, I inched forward while keeping my gaze on the platform through the passenger's car window. Down the stairs which led to the front ticket gate were the figures of two men from earlier this morning. The three thought-like passengers who had been loitering near the large horse had emblem of Tal at the Imperial station. A muffled laugh echoed from her throat as she too noticed them. Well, isn't this a warm reception party you've got going on? Cocking my head, I quietly pleaded, give me back my ointment. Sister Kanya said nothing. Members of the crew bid us farewell as we stepped through the exit to disembark the train onto the lit colored platform below. Angrily, I thought to myself, damn it! What's wrong with these fools? Can't they see what's going on? I shut my eyes halfway to protect them from the drizzle whipping against my face, and I unhurriedly descended the wet set of stairs. A half pace at a time, Sister Cornelia moved along behind me at precisely the same length of stride. Below, the group of thugs waited expectantly at the bottom of the stairs, waited for me, no doubt. Contemplating the rate at which I was going, I ultimately believed it was only a matter of time before I would be handed over to the enigmatic group. I caught sight of their soured faces as the distance between us grew smaller, and felt the heat of my left hand tightly gripping my back grow in intensity until my palm began to sweat profusely. Hitting the midway point of the stairs, Sister Cornelia suddenly whispered in my ears, keep your eyes on the ground, Toby. I did as I was told and cast my gaze down upon the tip of my boots, stained to a darker shade by the rainwater. Then right at the moment I let out my breath, I felt a deep sense of pressure just below my shoulder blades, as I was forcefully shoved forward. Droplets flew from my satellited fingers and my wood turned upside down as I tumbled down the stairs and slammed back first into the group of the hoodlums. With a muffled crunch, I felt the painful sensation of my ribs crumple under the weight of my body and then returned to normal from their severely compressed state. Two of the seemingly military men who were hit as I toppled down the stairs like an avalanche unleashed on a pair of young saplings absorbed. Hold on a second. Like an avalanche unleashed on a pair of young saplings, absorbed the transfer of force and were thrown into a large puddle collecting on the ground nearby. Sorry, what? Shriek erupted from startled passengers nearby, more shrill than the high-pitched sound of the railway brakes from the decelerating locomotive. As my world spun widely about me, I lay there, the chill of the tire slipping into my back. With a concerted effort, I rolled my eyes to the left, where my arm remained in an outstretched state. By some act of the goddess, I had managed to keep my tight 5 fingers grip on the bag I had been carrying. In an effort to get up, I slid into a prostrate position, keeping my chin in contact with the ground, making a low visual sweep of the vicinity as if my life depended on it. I noticed the military-like physiques of the men had vanished from my view. The only figure I saw standing above me now on the platform was that of Sister Cornelia, and on her shoulder, as if she were merely hefting a sack of grain, was one of the men. And on her shoulder as if she were merely hefting a set of grain was one of the men. She beat them up. Oh, is she like the? Oh, okay. So she wasn't lying about being the protector, I guess. Turning in the direction where the train sat in its motionless state, she lobbed the unfortunate man down onto a set of empty rail tracks below. By this time, I had risen. But okay, let's just keep on. By this time, I had risen to one knee while keeping the other planted firmly on the ground in a half-standing position. The wall in front of me was still swaying, undulating in my wavering eyesight. My head slowly rocked back and forth with it as the double vision of Sister Candida boots approached me. Then with a strong grip, she tugged on my hand. For some strange reason or another, when she did this, I failed to notice the unpleasant feeling that her hand wrapped tightly around mine brought. "Let's go, Toby," she instructed in an authoritative voice. Nearly dragging me, she pulled me to my feet, and before long we were hightailing it out of there. The onlookers made quite a commotion as they moved hastily out of the way in a determined attempt not to be caught up in the middle of our flight path. The bag in my left hand swung helplessly, knocking against my thigh. After clearing the ticket, Sister Cornelia finally let go of my hand. But a sickening, slippery sensation came with it. Looking over at her, I realized that the stomach churning, slimy feeling on my hand had come from the bright red blood, which had stained both of hers. I peered back over my shoulder in the direction of the platform as I continued to run, but the figures of the three men who had been waiting for me at the station were nowhere to be found. The mystery of the Sabbathus. I sat staring at a partially melted lump of butter on a stack of cooked pancakes. Picking up a fork, I poked at them, and after turning the top one over, I dubbed the milky yellow substance between the rubbery layers. In doing so, my interest in what sat atop my plate faded to nil. A hanging lamp dangled overhead, making a sporadic buzzing sound. As its horny-colored light flickered, creating jittery shadows and distorting my vision within the inn. The pouring rain outside didn't appear, as if it would let out. Oh, okay, sorry. As if it would let up anytime soon either. Still don't understand. Bringing my face closer to the window, I peered through the film of water flowing down the outside of the glass as I tried to make out the dimly lit avenue. Although the station house sat right at the end of the road from where we were lodged, all that was visible was the side of the structure obscured by a shadow which prevented me from being able to see the platform. "There's nothing to be worried about," said Sister Cornelia as she returned, wiping her hands with a handkerchief as white as newly driven snow. Stretching the square strip of cloth out, she sat down and placed it nearly on her lap like an accused. Then, in a reassuring tone, she added, "We have seen the last of them for a while." Watching the tips of her fingers move as she smoothed out the wrinkles in the piece of fabric resting on her legs, I was hit with a sudden flashback, reviving the awful sight and coppery scent of the sticky blood which had covered those hands not more than a few hours before. How can you be so certain?" I asked, still having more than a few reservations, "Because that's how this type of crime syndicate works," she replied, clearly seeming to know all the answer. Okay. The waiter came and set a plate in front of Sister Cornelia with a soft-cling surface of the glassy dish tapped lightly against the hard surface of the table. Tappy tappy. After scooting the meat-laden porcelain plate closer to her, she licked off the sauce now covering the tips of her fingers in an almost sensual way. "That's not good!" Sickened by the bloody image already in my mind and now the sauce, I tossed my fork aside and leaned heavily back in my chair. The city outside began to fade into shades of grey, and by the time Sister Cornelia was finished tucking away her stick, it had completely sunk into the darkness of the night. Okay, I questioned her again. "How can you be so certain that no one will come after us?" Using a piece of black crust bread to wipe up the last drop of sauce, she answered, "Because that's how they function. One unit consists of 3 people." Then, as Then, as if remembering something else important, she added, that group that was after you, yeah, Jaeger Corps. Wait, where did I hear this from? Is it from the first game, right? No, I definitely have heard about this corps before. This is the one that want to... shit, I don't remember. Yeah, I guess we have to find out later. Upon hearing this, I recall seeing some of these men at the landing port some time ago. Only the mostly known and skilled mercenary groups have the honor of calling themselves a Jaeger Corps. Or at least that's what Mitch had told me about them. They were soldiers of fortune who were said to relentlessly follow the flow of Mira wherever that happened to it. They're like the adversary to the Bracer, right? They also do the same work as Bracer, but they're like more radical, right? I'm not sure. They will stop at nothing to get at it, even if it means spilling blood. Yeah, they take money for any sort of work. Warhawks, mercenaries without borders. Yeah, they're mercenaries, okay, and a group never to get involved with is what Mitch often had a habit of saying about them. Instinctively, I slid my foot forward and checked the location of my bag. With the tip of it. It's quite simple, really. Sister Cornelia explains as she reached for her desserts. You, Toby, are carrying something that's apparently got a lot of people on edge, and someone's hired a Jaeger Corps to take you out. But it's not me they're after, it's what I'm carrying. It's all the same, she retorted as she gulped down her cup of tea in a single breath. They are going to kill the courier before they even think about searching the content of his bag. A butcher kills a cow before someone grills a steak, not the other way around. Lecturing me all the while, Sister Cornelia took a glossy tallow handle knife in hand and sliced into her apple pie. The powder, she ate a lot. The powdered sugar, so what, first steak? And then the soup and the apple pie, the powdered sugar sprinkled on the flaky crust dance under the golden light. I felt a stabbing pain of guilt race through me just above my gut. Unexpectedly, I began to think about what Mitch could be doing at the moment, but my short period of rumination was cut short when I saw Sister Canada's hand stop cold. Glaring into the darkness, eyes focused and intent like a hunting dog, she tossed something shiny onto the table and eventually rose to her feet. There it was, my old man. Where are you going? Without pausing to answer my question, Sister Canada expeditiously fastened the buckle of her coat. You've got good taste, Toby. One at a time, she set her heels on the chair and tightened her bootlace. Those are the full capabilities of the old man is no small feat. I think even most prisoners would be in for a real surprise if Bush came to shove with you in the ring. Growing even more impatient, I asked again, so where is it exactly that you're going? That's none of your concern, came the answer. Suffice it to say, I will be seeing you again on the morrow. And with that, Sister Cornelia disappeared through the door of the women's restroom. As if exchanging places, two other men entered the restaurant. They walked directly to the table at which I sat and stood before me, okay? Flashing the emblem of his chest and without making any sort of eye contact, one of the men said, "We are with the Bracer Guild. I apologize for disturbing you in the middle of your evening meal, but you need to come with us." Bracers come to the story. Guys. Alah. Apa? We just said 5, right? So 6. Ascertaining the inner workings, my Ormond emptied bag and package wrapped in old magazine paper were laid out neatly on the table in front of me. The bracer sitting opposite me gazed alternately. Do we know any of this bracer? Gazed alternately at my face and the items on the table as if trying to gauge my reaction to them. Constantly rubbing his chin between his fingers, it appeared to me as though he were making an effort to display his right hand snugly fit within a leather gauntlet. I had been led to the second floor of the lodge by the two men, and then after they had painstakingly checked the layout of the floor, I was taken to the farthest room from the stairs. It occurred to me that the reason for the use of the makeshift space was due to there being no guild branch nearby. Oh, okay, there's no guild branch. The first man to sit in front of me was the lanky one. He told me his name, but I soon forgot which one was Clayton and which one was Pavel. Okay, no idea who this is. By the time I had finished being frisked, the bracer wearing the gauntlets, Clayton or Pavel, whoever it was, returned and whispered something in his partner's ear. Seems as though they were trying to locate Sister Cornelia, but having no luck. After much probing on the subject of her and the Jaeger Corps, and after relating everything I had heard from her on the train, I turned the conversation around and playing the role of the victim inquired into her past history. Though strictly speaking, I guess I was in fact a victim. Her name is Sulnit. Ein Sulnit. The lanky bracer from a pocketbook he held just below eye level. Originally a constituent member of a Jaeger Corps. Oh, okay. Her present affiliation and activities are unknown. From Jaeger, so already not from one of them, I guess. In short, added his partner previously, she's not the type of person any upstanding citizen should be getting involved with. He reached out his gauntlet-clad hand and picked up the object bundle and scrap paper, checking my reaction all the while. He unwrapped the paper, laying it out flat in the center of the table. Its content turned out to be a lump of metal ingrained with a sort of clay-like substance. I blurted out. I was on my way to a research institute with the item when everything happened, and then threw in the address of some non-existent client for good measure. The bracer took notes, making sure not to leave out any of the details of our conversation. Then, to dispel any lingering suspicion, I agreed to stay with them under their watchful eyes for the night. The next day, I also found myself inclined to go along with them to the nearest guild branch in order to file a report about the events that happened back at the station. But I had no qualms over the matter. My greatest concern at the moment, after all, was not running into any more troubles. I awoke as the sun came out over the horizon and day broke. With the advent of a peaceful morning, I sat up in bed and breathed a sigh of relief. The bracer who had stood guard the previous night were no longer present in the room, but the sound of their voices could be heard echoing in the hallway beyond the closed door. Slipping my arms through the sleeve of my jacket, I felt a sharp pain in my right elbow which brought back vivid memories of the woman from the day before. Suddenly, a feeling of uneasiness came over me, and still half undressed, I began adjusting my ointment. Then after opening its back cover, I used a thin piece of tender skin and started plucking out the cords installed in each slot. It didn't take about 5 minutes to insert them each into different slots and rearrange their configuration with a set of light magic as my base. One by one, I replaced each screw until finally the metallic panel was back in place. And as a feeling of calmness set in, I rolled back over in bed. It was at the time that a tall woman appearing to be a maid opened the door carrying a basin of hot water for the sink. Pre-bath, with which cats could shave and wash their face. After placing the small steaming tub on the table, the woman went quietly about her daily task of removing the bed linen. Finding myself shooed from my own bed, I reluctantly headed toward the basin when just beyond the open door I caught sight of two shadows cutting across the hallway in succession. "They are here," I heard myself mutter as the low tone of my suppressed voice reached my ears. With only a bar of soap in hand, I remained unbelievably calm as I quickly shut and bolted the door. Then, pondering my next move, I stood still with my back pressed up against the wall, and on the other side of the hardened clay wall, the brief clamor of fighting ensued. Fumbling with the chain attached to my hip pocket, I grabbed hold of the ointment I had and barely moments before. It was two braces versus the two others I had seen moments ago. They were practicing. Throwing myself into the mix with the two men from the guild would definitely put us at an advantage from a numbers standpoint. However, when I turned against to face the door, the voice of self-doubt came percolating through my closed lip in form of a distant mutter. "There were only two of them?" I murmured to myself. If Sister Cornelia's word were to be believed, then one unit consisted of 3 people, not 2. Again, I questioned myself inwardly. Then, where's the third? The hair on the back of my neck stood on end as I realized my plight. Something swung down over the top of my head, catching me around the neck, and at the next instant I was flung to the ground from the corner of my blood. Is that her again? And spotty vision came to an inexplicable view of a woman with demonic bloodshot eyes standing over me, trying to wrench the very life out of me with every twist of the shit she had wrapped tightly around my throat. Clutching my ointment in hand, I activated it and fired off a burst of magic while laying half asphyxiated on the wooden plank of the room floor. The destructive vortex of the compressed air sliced deeply into my hip, but at the same time caused the woman to double over before forcefully blowing her to another part of the room. Shreds of whirling linen, flecked and sprayed with fresh blood blasted out through a gaping hole in the wall where a closed window once stood, leaving nothing behind but shards of broken glass and a frame ran beyond all repair. Now, who is this? I think we just read 6 to 7. And I'm really tired. Reading is no joke. Oh, 15 pages. Ah. The death of a friend. Wheezing, I breathed in the sound high and whistling as the air fought to make it through my constricted windpipe. Still clutching tightly to my ointment, I unwound the sheets from my throat and utterly exhausted. I tilted my head on its side and watched it with leaden eyes. Sorry. I tilted my head on its side and watched it with leaden eyes as a small stream of saliva rippled down over the edge of my mouth and pulled onto the floor. When fresh air finally made its way into my lungs, it initially choked me nearly as badly as the shit had. A thump from somewhere behind startled me from my feet. The Jaeger demoness. Oh, it's one of the Jaegers, okay. No, I thought we are still with the bracelet. I guess not anymore. Like a spring-loaded doll leaped up from the floor of the room. The single shot of magic I had previously landed in her gut should have done the trick, but the fluid way she moved about made it appear as if she was unfazed by the blast. With an arm's reach of where I had subconsciously curled myself came the splintering sound of unseasoned wood being hewn down by a giant woodcutter's axe. In the following instant, Sister Cornelia came flying through a newly opened "My hero" opened hole in the timber door, her entry punctuated by a cloud of splinters, her arms as pliant as whips. She passed by the female Jaeger in a lightning-quick motion, and if her turning assault clocked her opponent full tilt in the face, the woman spun with the force of the blow and fell with a tumultuous thud, her head cracking hard against the floor. Damn! Like a prima ballerina. Sister Cornelia raised her knee high until she had it tucked securely up against her sternum. What? She stared down. What is that? She stared down at the outstretched figure on the floor, muscles flexed, and without an ounce of mercy, Sister Cornelia let her judgment fall with the heel of her boot, stomping down and crushing the wretched woman's throat. Wow. As I witnessed the grotesque and unsightly scene, Sister Cornelia gave a quick glance in my direction and beckoned me on. Then, with a nimble hop into the unknown before her, she cleared the broken window frame and light to the ground below. Quickly scraping my belongings together, I made after her, in the same manner as she had left, out the window with a 2-story drop to the cobblestone side road below. Waiting close by and helping to break my less than elegant fall, Sister Cornelia led me on as we took flight along the avenue brightly lit by the morning sun. A deafening blare from an automobile engine's whistle indicated that the first train was about to depart. Sister Cornelia immediately pulled a ticket from out of her coat pocket and held it out to me from the side. Reaching for the fluttering strip of paper between her fingers, I realized that I was still carrying the bar of soap from before, so I chucked it, not caring where it landed or who it might hit. Aboard the train, the smoggy haze from the incessant smoking of the night-turning lantern had permeated into every nook and cranny of the passenger car. There was also the smell of newly printed publications and the occasional sound of someone clearing their throat. It felt rather awkward to have boarded a train bound for the Imperial City with my bag still in hand. "Do you know what your problem is, Toby?" Sister Cornelia remarked. "You're just like augments of yours." Using her white handkerchief, she stanched the flow of blood from my legs, which had been lacerated by the spinning arrow blades of the magic. "Once you get yourself into trouble, you keep digging yourself in deeper until someone comes along with a billy club and whacks some good sense into you." Placing a folded magazine on my lap, she tapped on it with the nail tip of her index fingers, indicating that I should read what was inside. and it was a copy of the Imperial Chronicle which had been published just that morning. Okay. Oh, is it in the news? A several-line article buried page behind more titillating news told of the suspicious death of one Orbital factory owner somewhere within the capital. This was the first time I had ever become aware of Mitri. No! Sister Canalia continued her lecture as she mercilessly upbraided me for my reckless behavior. You miss being caught up in all of this by a hair's breadth, she informed me coolly. At a loss for words over the shock of Mitch's death, I put the magazine away in my trench coat pocket. Another 5 minutes in that shop, and you'd have gone to meet your maker too. Okay. I shook my head and with trembling lips, let my thoughts tumble out of my mouth. I just don't get it. Why did Mitch have to die? Images of Mitch's cold body behind the counter alternated in my mind with that of the lump of metal wrapped in scrap paper. Just what the hell had I been carrying all this time, and why did anyone have to die over it? And I pondered at length. Sister kindly made my eyes and held them because it's an artifact, she said simply. Yeah, artifacts like something way more powerful than a normal quartz, if I'm not mistaken. Like one of them are the what's it called again? The black one? The one that can nullify any other augment's power. That one is really strong. That's one of the artifacts. An artifact as cool as I blew off her answer. It's not like I haven't carried a bunch of them before. Artifacts in short were the remaining legacy of an ancient civilization, and the generic term for any unidentifiable mechanism which resembled that of an augment. I had spent my days as a courier smuggling any number of these items under the false pretense of goods I was carrying. I wonder if the one that he's carrying right now is the Black Orbs. They give them a name. I forgot. The one big thing in the first game. You guys should probably know the Black Orbs. Okay. I had spent my days as a courier smuggling any numbers of this item under the false pretense that the goods I was getting were nothing more than rare antiques, and readily placed them in the hands of those aristocrats, amongst whom they were especially in a vogue. And for the most part, my current possession appeared as though it belonged in the same group as the others. Personally, I could find no other value in the collecting of these artifacts, besides the indulgence of oneself in a dissident hobby. Chiding me as if I were a clueless child. Sister Candela rebuked. You're wrong, Toby. This one's much different than the others. After a moment pause, she added, It's alive. Unable to grasp what she had meant, I looked at her with a questioning expression on my face. Sister Candela tried again. What I'm trying to tell you is that it still works. Although I'm not really sure what kind of power that she has, it was unearthed during an excavation within the Empire territories about 30 years ago. Sister Canelia's subsequent story about the peculiar lump of metal told of a dark history surrounding a group of aristocrats who relentlessly sought after it. The artifact itself has transitioned from hand to hand by those in power as one after another now. How did Mitch get it? They were murdered while slumbering in their bedchambers. Then, at the end of the 100 Days' War, its whereabouts was said to have been lost. And strangely enough, it's finally turned up in the capital after all this time, she said, finishing up the account. An announcement chimed in the passenger car notifying those riding of the scattered time after arrival. Sister Canelia uncrossed and recrossed her long legs. The one who is after the artifacts hired the Jaeger Corps to bring it to them, whatever the cost. So as a result, I was dispatched by the church in order to protect both you and it from falling into their hands. I sat staring down at the back, resting next to my feet as we approached our destination, and the moving train quietly began to speed. In the bowels of the Imperial City. Moving purposely through the crowd, we made our way between the rows of seats. Each time the swinging bag in hand struck the side of my knee, I became keenly aware of its presence. It was an unnerving feeling, quite like I had unintentionally brushed up against someone in an offensive way. Furthermore, it was nearly inconceivable to my mind that the unseen relic the Jaeger Corps were pursuing with such a frenzy was sitting right here inside the stitch cloth of this cheap handbag. What a fool Mitch had been. Hadn't he known the burden his object would bring would be one far more weight than the both of us could have hoped to bear. I squeezed my eyes shut against the thoughts flying around my man and addressed Sister Cornelia, who followed closely behind me. We'll be making a break for the cathedral once we get off? Yes, that was the plan, she answered. Scanning the scene outside the window of the passenger car, I think that's the only option we've got if we want to make it through this day alive. The station where the train was set to arrive was unremittingly crowded with countless droves of passengers, and as usual the sky was slightly overcast. Everyone outside of the platform stood shivering in silence, with their collars drawn up to their ears, huddling close to one another for warmth like a flock of the waterfowl out on the tight lands in midwinter. Don't worry, I won't be tossing you down on a flight of stairs this time, Toby, jested Sister Cornelia. Although if there were 2 more of you at my disposal, I might have decided otherwise, she added. Evidently, the numbers in our welcome party this time had seen a rather dramatic increase. Yeah. The odds don't appear to be in our favor, she said in a low voice, her warm breath tickling the lobe of my ear. We won't be able to live through the ticket gate. As soon as we step off the train, we stealthily, sneaky, moved to the opposite end of the platform, and after sneaking out a large door from the outside by station personnel, we jumped down onto the piles of railroad ties and steel rails below. The biting cold wind of the capital swept freely across the unobstructed railroad tracks, causing me to shudder as if it ruffled our coats with its chilly touch. Slipping between the couplets of a pair of freight cars, we moved cautiously along their edge, sticking close to the shadows. Over on the cargo platform, workers were busy unloading containers for someone who had his mind set on becoming a dealer of pilfered goods. Gaining illicit entry into the station house would be one of the first of all basics. Showing my ticket, I spoke politely to one of the workers. Then, with a scenario picked out in my head, I sold it to him as I played the part of a manager here on business with a celebrity of notable repute. Midway through our conversation, I introduced Sister Candida, who did her best to show the man a glamorous smile and feminine pose. I had possibly gone a bit overboard when I stated that she was an opera singer, because the way that she carried herself made her look more akin to a low witch style song in a bar of a drunkards. Yet in spite of it all, the workers graciously let us through. You're so good at that. It's almost scary, Toby, Sister Cornelia said as we raced through the station warehouse sector. You should seriously consider doing another job, she went on. I bet you're going to tell me to join the Bracer Guild, right? Come on, this guy would turn me down in a heartbeat, I said as I laughed off the thought. Then, throwing the idea back in her court, I asked, so how about yourself? Why don't you join the Bracer Guild? Reaching the end of the warehouse sector, we came to a stop in front of a large chain-link fence. Sister Cornelia crouched down and, while sliding a drainage cover to the side, laughed at my previous question as if it were insane. Are you kidding? She asked. They gunned me down the second I set foot into one of their branches. The winding, narrow stone tunnels like the one we were in ran everywhere beneath the capital. We crawled along as the light shining down through the drainage grates on the side of a large road above us illuminated the way like a trail of flickering arable lampposts. The feet of those walking along the avenue passed right by where we were, but not a single person noticed us scraping our way along below them. Of course, no. Like how? And for some strange reason or another, the wood just beyond the thin flagstone paved road appeared so dazzling in my eyes. Yet the Jägerkorps loss of the artifacts in hand and a senseless sudden death, all of which had never crossed my mind before, lay in wait for me there. I do venture into the open world above. As we pressed on, I began to think that that small round tunnel which we were crawling through would run on forever, when finally emerged with a high-ceiling seawall surrounded by walls of countless blocks of chiseled stone. We'll go through here and make our way over to where the cathedral is located, Sister Cornelia insisted. Raising one brow, she pointed her finger upwards. It's a lot safer down here than it sits up there. That's why they say, like, this road is dazzling, because it's much safer. That's fine and all, but what are we going to do if it gets attacked? Sister Cornelia grabbed my hand and with that stepped into the muddy darkness beyond. Don't worry, Toby, she rescued me. Faith is the only thing that's supporting Isn't the only thing stopping the church? Crazy. What else? Cornelia, the flicker of dying orbital lamps mounted at equidistant lengths along the seawall walls sent thin streaks of light across the surface of the rippling flow of filthy sewage. Passing in front of this one by one, Sister Cornelia spread down the stone sidewalk as the sound of her body cutting through the racing tunnel's winds trailed out behind her. Holy moly! The words, panting out of breath, I continued to move my feet towards the darkness which lay before me as I chased after Sister Cornelia's flickering shadow. Wayworn yet without a moment of repose, we headed unrelentingly with our sights set on the cathedral of the Septian Church. Oh! We moved swiftly across the moss-covered stone pavement, the clacking of our heels echoing in the dimly lit underground. Above ground, the walking distance on the city roads from the railway station to the cathedral was about 3 blocks. If we made our way up through the drainage ditch just beyond the sluice gate, we will find ourselves in the public square outside the massive sanctuary. Up ahead, the light of another orbital lamp came into view. Turning her head in my direction and without a word, Sister Cornelia extended her right hand outwards in a wide motion indicating that we would be turning that way at the next corner. Okay. Good. Then, as if preparing for something, she rolled both shoulders in a grinding motion and released the last of her tension with her palm of the neck. It seems to me as though she knew all too well what was lurking within the tenebrous conduit head. Under the unsteady and sporadic coruscation of light, the body of Sister Cornelia surged around the corner and disappeared from view. Wait, what? 1, 2, 3 went the walloping echoes, followed by the sound of something being rolled into the channel of filthy sludge. As I turned the corner, the first thing which leaped into my sight were the contorted fingers of 2 men on the ground, whom I barely missed treading on. Sister Cornelia, who was by this time several steps ahead, continued to run at her usual pace, as if nothing had happened during the preceding seconds. "It's Cornelia!" came an angry but noticeably wavering voice from behind. I glanced to my right to locate the source, and there I found a man who had dragged himself from the fire-filled liquid fecal vessel, now lying next to his dead comrades, yelling with his dying breath as blood leaked out of his open mouth. "Cornelia, she's down here!" He's managed to croak before falling silent and still. Sister Cornelia paid no attention, nor made any effort, badass we call that, to look back, and I turned my face toward and followed her example. The walls of the conduit leading directly to the sluice gate squared out into an ominous mass of darkness, seemingly waiting for its next unsuspecting meal. Right. Sister Cornelia gradually slowed her pace to match mine, as I had by this time become completely exhausted and out of breath. "You didn't do anything, you are the one out of breath. Looks like these guys are dead serious about getting their hands on that item this time," she said, and as she focused her eyes on the darkness before us. I swear, if she's gonna sacrifice herself on me, that's crazy. Not me, this guy. What was his name again? Toby. I don't know why I put myself as Toby here. I just feel like he's the MC here. "So were those men old friends of yours or something?" I cried. Sister Cornelia turned to face me with her darkened scarlet eyes. "Is that what you heard from those braces the other day?" she asked. I nodded my head and questioned her no further. "Yeah, she's like one of her. She's from the Jaeger." I nodded my head and questioned her no further. With head slightly turned down, I forced myself onwards, and eyes fixated on tips of my boots. Unexpectedly, Sister Cornelia opened her mouth and said, "Do you remember that woman you had run in with back at the inn?" "No." I nodded slightly. "The whole reason I gave up my life as a mystery is because I didn't want to meet a tragic end like that," she continued. "A life of no meaning, forgotten by all." I looked up at Sister Cornelia, and seeing a slight show of emotion in the side of her face, heard her repeat the same line of words a few times more before finishing her thoughts. "If I'm going to cash in my life's chips, then I think it's best that I fight for something worth fighting for. At least that's why I'd be able to leave a legacy of my existence behind." Taking in her words, I ran steadily beside her as I felt a sense of nondescript apprehension slowly begin to creep over me. "Nandademo." During the short intervals between breaths, it suddenly seemed as if I were hearing the faint sound of sloshing water from behind, which caused me to prick up my ears and turn my head in its direction. So you noticed it too, huh, Toby?" Sister Cornelia slowed her steps until finally coming to a complete stop. "They have blockaded us from behind." so there's no turning back now. She said so there's no turning back now, she said. The direness of our situation's heavy in her voice. We had arrived in an intersection where the conduit we were in and another cross path and just beyond the way. We had arrived in at an intersection where the conduit we were in and another cross path and just beyond the way. Further flow of the sewage water before us, I could see the dimly lit sluice gate. I placed my back against the damp bricks of the nearest wall and for a moment tried to catch my breath. They are probably lying in wait for us. Sister Cornelia answers stolidly after glaring across the flowing sewage of the marsh channels and then turning her head to the rear and narrowing her eyes again. And unfortunately this time we won't be able to circumvent them. With the sound of composure revealing her utmost resolve, Sister Cornelia took a few deep breaths. I laid hand on my ornament, gripping it in the palm of my sweaty hand, and then wrapped the strap of my bag securely around my opposite wrist. And as always, Sister Cornelia checked her boots before standing upright, and then taking a few steps back and holding my breath. I raced forward and darted into the steep flow of waste. Wait, that one was 9 on 10. Oh, that was 9. Let's go 10. The last 10. Yeah, the last 10. Sister Cornelia made such a haste as she aimed for the parts of the opposite side of the sludge-filled channel that I could have sworn she was actually running on the liquid surface. Based on my observation, she ran on the water. On the minuscule spattered her feet produced. And of course, she passed me by in the blink of an eye, the space growing wider and wider between us, and I continued to thresh my way through the filthy muck. She's already fighting at the front. I'm pretty sure. Flashes of magic erupted from the darkness by the sluice gate and ripped through the air in rapid succession, but none of them could overtake the speed at which Sister Cornelia moved. In an unyielding offensive by the shadow aggressors, the subtle figurance in the depths of the channel was thrown up in the form of a powerful tsunami. And in an instant before clearing myself from its destructive path, I feared that the terrible wall of the sedimented face would crush me under its weight and bring me to an unsightly end. With a mid-air sprint to avoid the last of the oncoming magic, Sister Cornelia flew to the opposite side of the channel with incredible speed, hurdling the wall of piled-up sandbags behind which the attackers took cover. She whirled her arms in a ferocious onslaught. One by one, like a row of pins being struck by a weight object, the line of standing Jaegers crumbled to the ground. Sister Cornelia's attack was like a whirlwind of death, blurry with the speed at which they struck. They came in advancing at inconceivable angles, puncturing throats, slashing open arteries, and then they were gone. So it was that when I finally reached the cobbled path beyond the stagnant channel, not a soul was left standing beside Sister Cornelia and myself. The cathedral is at the end of a ladder just beyond the gate, she indicated as she flickered dripping blood from her fingers, like a child who forgot a handkerchief to dry her wet hands. Her eyes shone with the afterglow of battle. The Jaegers can't be far behind. So we better hurry, she warned, and as if to punctuate a warning, the damp sound of numerous feet kicking up waters as they advanced toward our present location had now become clearly audible to my ears. Stepping over the handful of Jaeger's corpse lying scattered about behind the wall of sandbags, we made our way for the dry bed channel which lay ahead of us. I placed my hands on the slightly damp stone floor of the empty channel and crawled through the half-open door of the sluice gate. A falling water droplet struck the nape of my neck as I passed through the cramped opening, causing me to stop dead in my tracks. In the moment that followed, I recognized the sound of an old man overhead on the verge of discharging a burst of magic. "Toby!" came the ostensible voice of Sister Cornelia, as my vision was instantly flooded with a waves of exceeding brightness. Then, in the midst of this whirl of blinding light, came the hand of a savior, which grabbed me firmly by the shoulder. The powerful feeling of being dragged and the explosion produced by magic rupturing stone were almost simultaneous. As the booming roar swept across the whole of my body, I was thrown backwards toward the ground despite my clouded vision.
I managed to somersault before landing in the prone position, choking on the filthy puddle I had fallen face down in. I lifted my head in time to see a cloud of blackened dust being heaved from the mouth of the halfway raised sluice gate door, and as if my worst nightmare had now become reality, I watched as one after another the blockading Jaegers emerged from the smoky cloud, each bearing a glinting blade. I floundered about on the slippery mud and watched as their ranks sprang into actions and closed in. Just they were like so ready. It's like as if they know that we are using this route. They were like really ready. Their rugged facial features now visible to my eyes. Instantly rolling to the side, I unsheathed my hidden blade as I attempted to deflect a wide arching slash of another with my back. The close of the bag over which the sharp edge ran split open without sound, and the pepper wrap ointment fell onto the cobbled floor. Frantically, I searched for the ointment at my side, but I was unable to get a grip on it because of my clumsy panic. Stricken state. Oh my god. One of the mercenary men, his eyes intent on my throat, drew back his long sword to end my life. But before he could make his move, a dark silhouette appeared from behind him. It was Sister Cornelia. Damn. Her hands moving with such finesse disarmed the man in an instant. Is it an actually like disarm or just disarm? Is it like an actually cutting? And left only his sword behind before he was launched from views into the hanging shadows unveiling the dank conduits. As the sound of the falling sword struck the ground with a high-pitched clang, Sister Cornelia dropped to her knees. Her soft-whispered words were full of regret. "I'm sorry, Toby." With her head bowed forward, I watched in the disbelief as several streaks of blood began to run down the side of her face. "Looks like the goddess may be calling you home too," she said gently. Once again, Sister Cornelia rose to her feet, her coat hanging in tatters. Eyeing her outer garment's ragged state, I knew for certain that it had been caused by the previous blast of magic. In order to protect me from harm, Sister Cornelia had willingly used her body as a shield to absorb the brunt of the force. Yep. Saw it a mile away. And now a stain of effervescing crimson blood had begun to seep through the clothes covering her breast. I swept up the artifact which had tumbled to the ground from the hole in my severed back and tore away the wet pepper which covered its surface. Then with the cold lump of metal in hand, I placed it atop my ointment as I gripped them both tightly together. The sound of footfall from the Jaeger corps had by now subsided. They stood in a cluster with their swords drawn, effectively blocking any possible escape. Yeah, we're done. Sister Cornelia let out a shrill cry, and I, as if taking the sound to be a command to attack, unleashed the energy pent out within my ointment. The device roared, and at the instant the magic was discharged, I felt an intense wave of searing heat graze over my cheeks as my entire body was immediately blown backwards by its powerful force. Stunned, I collapsed onto the floor. When I finally forced open my eyes, I could see Sister Cornelia standing above me with her back turned to face me. Her right arm had lost all strength to function and hung limply at her side. Dazedly, she slid to her knees and slumped onto the ground before me. I pulled Sister Cornelia close to myself and, hugging her tightly, blasted the back of the assailing mercenaries with an instantaneous wave of magic. But then it was all over, my last stand ending as soon as it had begun. Countless razor-sharp sword tips stared down at us from all sides, convinced that I had finally reached my life terminus. I raised my right hand, and while placing a false hope in my ointment that it could somehow protect us, I activated it, the last of its energy being consumed, and it was drained to empty. Whirling arrow blades spun around us, and I closed my eyes and accepted my fate. And behind my darkened eyelids, an endless realm of whiteness began to spread out before me. A legacy never to be forgotten. I was swallowed by the light, only to be spewed moments later onto a patch of hardened ground. The air was filled with the scent of sun-baked earth, yet forming the floor of some grandiose heavenly estate inherited by those in the afterlives. It felt quite like the flagstone I had grown accustomed to in my past life. Upon feeling around in my immediate surroundings, my searching hand found soft locks of disheveled hair. Seems as the Sister Canela had come as well as I to meet our creator firsthand. Gradually, as I lay there, I felt something warm swell within the pit of my stomach. Weary and spent, I just let the feeling spread over me. It was at about this time that the sound of murmurous voice started to fill the air around us. Warm breeze tickled across my nose and brow, letting me know that I was being stared at directly in the face. As my eyes adjusted to the intensity of the light, I realized that I was looking into the face of a young girl, who beamed back at me brightly with the widest of smiles. However, she seemed a bit young to hold the esteemed position of the goddess. The knell of a bell overhead rang out loud and clear. Strangely, it had sounded exactly like the cathedral's distinctive toll, telling the series of events to be rather odd. And I picked myself up and at last awakened from the dream which had temporarily invaded my senses. There it was, the familiar cityscape, the sounds, and even the scent of the breeze. I knew the place by heart. It was the public square of the imperial city which unfolded before the great cathedral of the Septian Church. I opened the fingers of my right hand and stared down at the metallic lamp in its palm entrusted to me by Mitch. And I'm assuming this must be the braces work as savers. Opened the fingers of my right hand and sat down at the metallic lamp in its palm, instructed to me by Mitch. Golden filaments of light swirled across the surface of the artifact. I instantly recalled Sister Canila's word. "It's alive," she had said. And as I watched the instant light gradually fade away before closing my hand around its surface once more, I believed it. Supporting each other by wrapping our arms around one another's shoulders, Sister Canila and I hobbled and limped our way toward the magnificent cathedral as the awe-inspiring figures of the goddess Aidios stood silently with unfurled wings. Hold on, did they actually die? Watching over us from the deep-hued stained glass window above, and as and as I thought that was a metaphor. And as for the events which followed, they were all settled in an orderly fashion. The metallic lamp which Sister Canela had so daringly risked her life for was turned over to his minions. The cardinal who presided over the cathedral, he disappeared with it through the thick open door of a sacred vault. The level of corruption which had spread like a plague among members of the imperial court, influential aristocrats, and even the commission officials in the imperial army astonished, even those mediators acting on behalf of the Bracer Guild. I stayed close by Sister Canela as she was laid out on a pew within the chapel of the cathedral. The real sisters of the church delicately pulled off her coat and cut open her vest, now stuck to her body with dried blood. Upon doing so, they found an ornate shirt of chainmail just beneath the layer of her clothing, which for some strange reason seems to bewilder them all. The next day, a certain aristocrat who had hired the Jaeger Corps to carry out his selfish bidding agreed to relinquish the artifacts in his possession in return for keeping his estate. Hence, his collection of forbidden antiques were brought under the safekeeping of the Septian Church. Sworn to secrecy, I made immediate arrangements to take leave for the Calvert Republic, my destination, a high-class resort, which turned out to be an excellent way to recover physically and mentally, as well as forget about the series of events we had occurred over the past few days. Naturally, the bracer assigned to provide my escort were none other than Clayton and Pebble, who, before we left, guided me without a word to where Sister Canelia was resting. I thought it was Sister Canelia who had awoken for a short interval, but as I got up to leave, she reached out her dainty hand and said to me, "Before you go, I want to tell you my real name. It's Ayn Selnet." I took her unblemished hand in mine and gripped it firmly as I expressed my appreciation for what she had done. And today, now 3 years later, I stood staring at her name once again, but this time printed on a page of the Imperial Chronicle, Ayn Selnet. Below the printed characters ran the few lines of unembellished article. Yesterday, a corpse was discovered in an urban area. In an urban area of the capital just before dawn, the body was found to be covered with multiple stab wounds. The departed in lives had been involved in charitable work and brought salvation to many afflicted souls in various regions throughout the land. Pasay. Sorry. As I read the last line, I envisioned the diseased figure of Sister Candela lying motionless upon a darkened street, yet despite the blood-stained face I envisioned in my mind, I saw her as she rested in peace, a gentle smile crossing her face, and vindicated of any transgression in life. As I roll up the copy of the magazines in hand, I brush my hand lightly across the shining bracer emblem pin on my chest. Oh, he's a bracer now. Almost 2 years have passed since I converted to my new line of work, which is the kind I had so graciously recommended to me, and finally, I had even become used to using my real name, Toby. Came the whispers of Sister Canela as it resurrected in my ears. Now only known as Toby, I pressed my forehead up against the cold, clouded window of the passenger car, the refulgent eyes of Sister Canela shining brightly like a carnelian stone forever lingering in my memory. In my mind's eye, I watched as her coat sleeves trailed out behind her and she dashed away into the darkness of my memories. Opening my eyes, I gazed out through the window's glass, and there I saw the bleeding road coloring illuminating of the Imperial City as it faded away beneath the heavy white fog. Yo, so sad. The other story was ending with such a happy ending, while this one is very sad. It seems as though, okay, I didn't read it properly. I thought they were like dead for sure. But yeah, in the end, Sister Canelia, like 3 years after, found that in an alley. Her line of work is very dangerous, so it's inevitable. And I think she... Well, I would like to believe that she has a fulfilling job. Alright. That's the end of the Carnelia. I think the name of the book is Carnelia. The Legend of Carnelia, the Carnelia, something like that. Right, let's see the ambassador, talk to them. So this is the office. Oh, indeed. Shall we make our grand entrance and shock the ambassador into silence? Well, I can totally cut you in half, you know. I apologize for the wait. Lord Reynard will see you now. Let's go then. You know, the Canadian story was actually like really good. It can also be like a whole game. It feels like a whole game explained in a short story. Yeah, what a roller coaster. Right, Ambassador Krena, welcome to the Erebonian Embassy. Yes, I am Lord Devil Krena, the duly appointed ambassador and voice of the Empire in this land. I'm Estelbright of the Bracer Guild. Zin Vatek, also of the guild. Chloe Rin, second year student at the Yanis Royal Academy and assistant to the races. And I am the servant of love and peace, Olivia Lenheim. You. I heard you gone missing in Elmo Village. Try not to worry more further, Olivia. Or me, for that matter. Such a street dressing down. Much more, and I'll have to lose my jacket. Setting that aside. You're so done. You are here to inquire about the threatened letter, yes? What do you want to know? Okay, I'll be direct, sir. Do you have any idea who might be behind the letter? Is there anyone in the Empire who might oppose the signing of the pact? You are direct, young Bracer. I appreciate that. I can tell you truthfully, however, that I can think of no such person. His Majesty is very happy with the pact as it stands, in fact. And no one within the Empire would be foolish enough to gainsay his leadership on such a matter, of course. Yeah, I bet. So you think it's the work of someone outside the Empire then? I feel like it's still Captain Amelia, no? No, Captain Amicia. The former captain. We'll see though. What other answers could there be? If you want my opinion, it's the opposing party involved behind all this. Actually no, sir. Some silly ploy to make the president look bad, no doubt. Opposition doing whatever they please. This is a perfect example of the fallacies of mob rule. I have to question that, your lordship. Don't get me wrong, our major political parties basically beat each other over the head anytime they can, but even if the pact fell apart due to this, I don't think anyone could blame it on President Rocksmith. Details, you think the mob's things like that, pa? All I can say for certain is that the person issuing these threats cannot be from our empire. That should be more than enough assurance for you. Well, excuse me, Lord Grainer. May I ask what Chancellor Osborne's opinion of the non-aggression pact is? Oh, is Chancellor like very anti for the other party? What? Flawless riposte, Chloe. Who? The highest appointed official of our most glorious and august imperial government, the Blood and Iron Chancellor, Ilias Osborne. His nickname comes from his personal motto, our nation's peace must be built on a foundation of blood and iron. Yeah. He has overseen the expansion of the rail system, as well as the annexation of several smaller states on our borders through less than diplomatic means, through iron and blood. And next, wait, you mean he... Oh, Olivier! How can you criticize your empire's chancellor? Oh, but devil, how was I criticizing? I simply state the facts. But come now, it wouldn't hurt to be a bit more cooperative, you know? We have already spoken with the lovely Ambassador Cochrane over at the Calvedian Embassy. She was quite helpful, you see. What? Why, if we don't help these people now, it will give them cause to doubt the character of Erebonia. That would be a tragedy, wouldn't you agree? My Lord Greener, there's no need to keep information related to this hidden. May I humbly suggest that being open in this case will not present a problem? You have a point, Mueller. Very well. To answer your question, Miss, Chancellor Osborne, like His Majesty, is most receptive to this pact. In fact, I heard he is actually the one who suggested His Majesty should sign it. Okay, so it's probably not from him then. Oh, really? That's because he's looking forward to getting the engine, right? No. Apparently he recommended it to His Majesty. Before any mention of the engine. If anything, I'm glad there is harmony at home over this pact. There's been no pressure for us to negotiate. Hate to say it, Estelle, but it's looking like there really isn't a chance it's someone from the Empire. Yeah, looks that way. Ambassador, thanks a lot for answering our question. See? It is as I said. If you're looking for the guilty party, you should look elsewhere. Oh, but one sec. If you don't mind, we have one more questions. Estelle and Lord Grainer ask Lord Grainer about Rene's parent. Yeah, a most pitiable situation, the separation of a child from her parents. Imperial traders do visit the embassy at times, but a merchant from Crossbell? I do not recall such a man, no. Are you familiar with this Hayworth Mueller? No, I've never heard of the man either. Really? This is starting to look kinda grim. To search at once for both a blackmailer and a lost child parent sounds most trying. You may seem try, but I do wish you luck, young lady. Thanks, Mr. Lord Grainer. Allow me to show you the gate then. Yippee! And there it is. We have 2 more places to go though. Where are you, Mueller? Thanks, Mueller. Talking with the ambassador was a big help. No, you don't need to thank me. I didn't do anything important really. Besides, this is a problem affecting all our nations. Should be working together. Ah, indeed. I do hope we can solve this. Ah, Olivia, you're awfully quiet. Oh, it's nothing. I was simply lost in reverie for a moment. It doesn't concern our current business. Pay me no mind. Okay. Olivia, you'll be staying here at the embassy in the evenings while you are here in Gransa, yes? Where else? I would not miss the chance to have more sweet dreams in your bed. As always, hey! Relax. What? Oh my. Start with the jokes before you give the ladies too many ideas and images. No, they definitely kiss each other for good night. Just kidding. Push these jokes too far and I may have to spear you upon the embassy flagpole. So that's the direction I should approach from. You teach me more every day. Alternatively, I could just cut you in half right here. I'm fairly sure I could explain it to Lord Krina. That would be rather less lovely. Forget the joke, my friend. So that's how you keep Olivia under control. Maybe I should write this down. Oh, I said they match each other perfectly myself. That's a terrifying thought. Well, regardless, I shall pardon myself here. Good luck with the rest of your investigation. Once again, Muela. Yeah, that was nice bits of the story. Okay, looks like we got some daylight to burn still. How about we put the Libanians aside for the moment and go to Gransa Castle instead? After you. Oh, we're going straight to the castle. What? Okay. I was actually want to go to the news first. But okay, they were like suggesting the castle first. Going to the castle. Wait, why? Oh, it's landing port. Took a tour of the castle. It was beautiful. A 131st. The wind here is amazing. Now where to go next? Miss Julia, my idol, how on earth can I meet you? I guess sneaking into the grounds on the tour is the best way. No sneaking. Not good. Oh, the fish seems to be swimming along quite cheerily. If only I brought my fishing rod. Private Dan, Private Alex. Say, you're the winner of the martial arts competition, right? Haha, yeah, that's just. Thanks for your help back then. Hey, no worries, so what brings you here today? If you're here to see someone that can certainly be arranged, or do you just want to have a walk around the palace, that's okay too. Actually, I'm here on a bracer business today. Wish to say hello Dan, Alex, it's been a while. Your Highness, Princess Claudia, we were not aware of your return. Sorry to start at you two. I'm afraid I'm here on business though. Still, I have some things in the castle to attend to. Will you let us pass, please? Of course, Your Highness. By your command, my lady. Wow. Over slightly popular, isn't she? Only slightly popular. Think I'm starting to get why the Duke guy is so jealous. Now entering Ladies Chloe and Estelle and the entourage. Open the gate! It's a gate, open the gate! Please come in! Thank you, you two. Well, Estelle, welcome back to my house, as it were. Come on in. Thanks. Oh my god, the zoom out of this looks weird. Okay, time to surround the castle a bit. So obviously we should talk to Queen Alicia, both to ask about the letter and to say hi, but let's see. Who else? Julia's gone, right? Yeah, she's currently at Leicester Fortress overseeing the refitting of the RCA. Well, it's going to make things a bit harder on us. She probably could have given us a lot of help with this mess. Who else could we confer with, I wonder? With Julia absent, I think our best bet is Hilda, that is concerning Rennie's parents. If the Haywoods have ever visited the castle, she would know. Yeah, Hilda's gonna seem to have some sort of castle sense about these things. So where would we find the meeting? Grandmother should be in her chambers at this hour, and Hilda, if she isn't in the maid room, they can tell us where she is at this. Good idea. Maid's room and the Queen's chamber, off we go. At the moment, Captain Schwartz of the Royal Guard is away. Welcome to the Grand Castle. Oh, the maid quarters? Go straight ahead for a while and you'll see a big entrance. The door to the right of that is the entrance to the maid quarters. Yep. Yepers. What is it? I'm very sorry, but I'm very busy cleaning here. Why, Your Highness Claudia, I see you are most well today. May I ask what brings you to my humble kitchen? Just looking around. Once we close that door leading into the sea, will we finally stop getting so many rats in our storehouse? Yeah, we close it finally? Really the nerves they had to chew on food that people put so much effort to bring in. Nasty little creatures. They nasty. Straight to the right, there's no such room, bro. Freaking scammer. I think it's here. Wait. Wasn't it? Wait. I'm confused. Was it here? Yeah, this should be it, right? Miss Estelle? And Miss Claudia? Mr. Zin too? Oh, pardon me, it's been quite some time. It sure has. Yeah, it must be when you lend me your maid uniform, Shia. Estelle as a maid. Yeah, it was to be with the Queen. Oh, and Joshua had to wear one too. She did her magic on his face with her makeup. She was all pumped up to do it. Oh my. Thank you very much, Joshua. Olivia, stop. Joshua, who once played the role of Princess Cecilia so perfectly, also portrayed a big servant. Oh, noble endeavor, boss. I'm sure it must have been quite beauteous to behold. I regret all the more I could not attend the Duke's banquet. Alright, Shia, do you know where Hilda is? I believe Mr. Hilda is in the library. As I recall, she said she had something to look up. I think that's our upstairs library. The library, got it. What is here though? Oh, it's a room. Okay. Library is second floor. Left, I remember. Oh well, time to start cleaning the guest rooms. Once I'm done with the guest room itself to help the tidy library. I wonder if the guest room has someone. Where's the guest? No guest. This used to be my room. If I'm not mistaken, yeah. In the first game, this is my room. No guess. Bomber. Alright, save first. Libera, Castle Blueprints, the 7 treasures and the full details of the 100 Days War. I was asked by Her Highness to compose a list of the books removed by the Intelligence Division. I wonder why they were investigating a curious selection. Yeah, they wonder why, so one of those things. Hey, Hilda! Princess Claudia and Miss Estelle too. Hello, Hilda. I'm sorry that if I startled you, but I just got back. Hi, Hilda. Sorry I've been out of touch. It's quite alright. I'm glad to see you well. I understand the princess has been assisting you, Estelle. I'm very glad to see the two of you home safe. Aw, Hilda. You're embarrassing Estelle, Hilda. Speaking of helping Estelle, though, I've been written partially to inquire about something the guild is investigating. Could we ask you a few questions, Hilda? If I can be of assistance, tells me anything. I think there may be a few too many on Lucas to speak here, however. Let us borrow a guest room. Yes, I see. Returning to the investigation of that letter we received then, I take it you want to know if I have any idea who the sender might be. That's it exactly. We're investigating all the locations that receive letters to see if we can ferret out some clues. Firstly, thank you for your efforts. Just assuming the letter was unsettling. I'm afraid I can be of little aid in naming suspects, however. The only thing I can say with confidence is that it is not the work of anyone in this castle. Yeah, we gotta figure that one. Who was the letter here addressed to, out of curiosity? No less a person, designed Her Majesty herself. I check all the letters addressed to the Queen, so I know the contents of the letter. Believe me, if I could lay hands on the rude fool who wrote that. Oh, pardon me, I was wondering, were there any other suspicious letters delivered to the castle recently? One's critical of a royal decision, for example. Ah, well. Hilda, please help us for my sake, if no one else. We need as much information as we can in order to make a judgment. Very well. There have been several letters delivered with no indications as to their senders. They were not particularly critical of royal decisions per se. They were largely petitions to reduce or annul Colonel Richard's sentence. Oh, okay. Okay. I suspect at least some are from citizens of Gressel, but the rest I cannot be sure on. People want Colonel Richard freed? No less than expressions of the man who once strove to be my rival. This popularity endures even after his capture and shaming. The colonel was very skilled and competent, and everyone knows that. It isn't unusual at all to see people regret losing him. I would personally bet on the letters not being related to our little threat. Requesting something of the royal hand is one thing. Trying to force us to do something is a whole different thing altogether. Yeah, it's very different. There was like suggestion and the other was like threats. Not like suggestion, more like plea, right? Well, still, even knowing the letters exist helps. Oh, one more thing, Hilda. I wanted to ask about something else. Ask about the Hayworth. Harold Hayworth, a trader from Crossbell. Yes, I remember him. Oh. Say what? Is he an acquaintance of yours, Hilda? Not as such. He asked for a tour of the castle's interior only a few days ago. I happened to be otherwise unoccupied, so I showed him about. His wife and daughter were with him as well. Okay, interesting. Really? Hey. Alas, this provides us a little clue as to where the Hayworths may have gone. Yes, my apologies. There was something that bothered me, however. What would that be? Their child greatly enjoyed the tour, however, her parents felt as though they were barely even present throughout the entire thing. They seemed even tempered and normal enough when they spoke to me, but when combined with your story, I wondered if they were under strain, not able to pay attention after coming to see a place as tourists. Sounds like something was on their minds, alright. Yes, it's likely they were in some kind of trouble, even then. This might give us a clue as to where they went. Thank you very much, Hilda. I think they gave us some good leads. I'm glad I could be of help. Oh, Princess, you'll be staying here in the castle tonight, I trust. And if your friends lack accommodations, well, I had intended to stay here while in Gressel, yes, but you know. Well, how about it, everyone? Ah, you forget. They are expecting me to be a pest at the embassy tonight, and I can hardly disappoint. I do appreciate the offer, however. Yeah, and I've got a wet, so basically a permanent room at the Chaldean embassy. Thanks, but I think I've got to decline this time. I should probably ask Skira and Tita before committing to anything we've got Rini too. JC! Thank you for the raid! Hello everyone from JC stream. How's it going? Hashtag JC's raid. What's up? How was the XCOM? Did you get far? Let's see. I don't know if I don't know if anyone came along really. Most everyone is sleeping. Yeah, it seems like mm, quieter than usual. I did. It was good. Did my character do good? You were like preemptively disappointed. Uh, I just did a lot of readings in this game before and I seem really tired. It's like 11 chapters and each chapters have 12 pages. So much things to read. Your character is good, don't worry. It's the best thing I've seen today. That's true, it sounds like she loves the castle. I shall keep the room ready in case you wish to stay. Thanks, Hilda. Thank you, Hilda. Not at all. I must return to the maid quarters. Please let me know if you need anything else. If you will pardon me. Is this about your head? Yup. The hat is probably the best thing they added in the game. Okay, so we still need to meet with the queen. She should be in her chambers, right? Yeah, I'd be surprised if she isn't. Let us not keep her waiting then. Her chamber would be up top. I think outside even. So we go to the left. Go up here. I think up here. Just pass through. Why, Lady Claudia? If you're looking for Her Majesty the Queen, she's currently resting in her room. Okie dokie. This is also where we fought the I forgot his name, but he's really strong. The guy that you can. It looks like a scripted lose, but actually, I find out that you can actually win in the first game, and I'm pretty sure he'll be back. What's his name again? The guy with the ashen hair, really strong. I think he's gonna be the final boss in this one. All right, time to meet the queen, Alicia. Ah, you finally arrived. Ha! Grandmother. Sick. Boah, sick. I see. Sick was being thoughtful, wasn't he? Yes, he let me know you were coming. Welcome home, Claudia. And Estelle, you are always welcome so long as I remain queen. Your father explained everything not long after you left to train. It pains me to know you carry such a burden. Oh, thank you very much, Your Majesty. Still, I know what I gotta do, and Chloe's been a huge help, so I'm okay. Don't worry. I see. Your soul has gained you still since we met last, Estelle. Trails of the Cold Steel. Mr. Vatek and Mr. Lanheim, both of you, of course, are also welcome in my home. Let us retire to my chambers. I shall have some tea prepared. So you've come about the letters. I wasn't aware they had been sent to the cathedral. And the embassies as well. Yeah, it's all over the place. Your fears are not groundless. It is difficult to think of such lengths as a mere childish prank. Yes, Your Highness. That's why we are trying to talk to people affiliated to the case, to see if we can find some clues. Grandmother, do you have any idea who might be responsible? Especially someone within Lipo? Claudia, what do you think? Me? As a possible heir, your thoughts should daily be on the forces moving within our nation. Would you share your opinion with me? Very well. Deep breath. I don't believe there is any force in the country which is truly opposed to the pact. I've heard in various places, however, that following in the coup, some of our extreme right-wing citizens are feeling very concerned. Is that a special ops? The affectation might be at the root of the letters, maybe. Very good. My opinion is more or less the same. Sorry, but I don't quite follow. Colonel Richard, was not the only man who approved of the idea of expanding and empowering our military. In the wake of the failed coup, however, the matters are effectively untouchable. I can only imagine all who share his mindset are quite dissatisfied and worried about our safety. Okay, so you think the letters are from believers in military control and expansion? Like the intelligence division guy still on the run? Yeah, Captain Amos, is still on the run. Also, it's quite interesting. Military control for the country. Usually not end up well, but we'll see. That would be the short of it, yes. If that is the case, then I would say I bear the responsibility for this as much as they. It was my belief that led them to take such action in the first place after all. Grandmother, I don't know, I don't think they have the right to be all blah, let's threaten people and be scary because we are sore losers. No, there are few things more precious than the freedoms to express oneself, Estelle. Remember, even those who promote military empowerment and a war footing to do so out of a love for Liberal and its people. But it's extreme! They have as much right to express that idea as any of us have ours. And listening to all such opinions and choosing how to guide the country, that is a ruler's responsibility. Though, in that case, I rather doubt they will actually try to stop the ceremony, yes? Assuming the latest is from the expansionists, yes, that's quite possible. With Colonel Richard under arrest, they have little power with which to act. The problem lies with the idea that someone else may be responsible. If that is the case, that I fear I can offer you little advice or knowledge. Nah, rats. Queen Alicia, if I may broach a question. Of course, Olivia, whatever you wish. Why are you so determined to act upon this non-aggression pact now? Your own country is still deeply confused and unsettled from the coup attempt. Most rulers would think this is the time to focus solely on one's own country, not the affairs of others. Olivia, you are talking to a queen, you know. It's alright, Esther. Olivia has a point. The plans and proposals for the pact, however, predict the coup. Further delays will only harm the dignity of the nation. The crossbell issue is causing a great deal of frictions again as well, and I hope this can help. Crossbell? That's where Rin is from, isn't it? Yes, it lies to the northeast of here, over the Crone Mountains and directly between Arabonia and Calvert. Both the Republic and Empire claim it should be part of the government's. Oh, okay. Some cross-balance want total independence. It's quite a mess. Okay, that's why. Crossbell is basically a fishbone stuck two throats at once. All the issues surrounding it just get called the crossbell problem. I see. Boy, no wonder people get worked up about it then. So your aim is to pluck out the bone with this pack then? Okay, to continue the analogy, it is not a bone that can be removed in one gesture, sadly. If I can open a way to resolve the issue, however, yes, laying the groundwork for resolving the issue will strengthen peace across the entire region, and people will remember that Libo spurred it on. I have underestimated you even more than I previously thought. Our invasion of Libo was far more of a fool's errand than I've ever imagined. That much, at least it's painfully obvious to me now. What are you going on about? Oh, wait, Crossbell Rini. Duh, sorry to change the subject, Your Majesty, but Estelle asked about the parents. My goodness, a child abandoned at the royal villa? I must instruct Raymond to keep me better informed, it seems. I know it's a shot in the dark, but I don't suppose you have any idea where they might be, Your Majesty. No, I am very sorry, but I do not, however. If they visit the castle, especially recently, Hilda would know of it. I already talked to her. Have you spoken with her? Yeah, we did. Hilda only said they were behaving a little strangely, and I think she probably would not be able to say where they were like heading, stuff like that. Right. I see. Well, should you wish, I can contact Mayor McDowell at the Crossbell government. If that will help, ask whenever you need. Oh, thanks. Grandmother, thank you for all your help. We need to move on, unfortunately. But, don't be nervous. I know what you wish to say, I think. You will be staying in the castle tonight, yes? Let us speak then, once you are no longer busy. Alright. Hey! I don't want to leave my healer. Okay, seems like we have to leave our healer.
Chloe is staying at the castle now. My God, such royalty. I would say she is the only person on the continent with that sense of balance. Yeah, sort of feels weird to say coming from a democracy, but she's the perfect ruler. Kind of enviable, to be honest. Yeah, of course. She's the queen after all. Monarch. Chloe, what's wrong? Oh, it's nothing. I was just struck again by how incredible a woman grandmother is. I really doubt I can ever live up to her. Oh. Princess? When did Her Majesty the Queen take the throne? When? Oh, she was 20, if I recall correctly. Oh, that's a really long time ago then. May I ask your age? I'm 16, but what? Ah. Hey, my point. I truly doubt Her Majesty was a master politician the day she took the throne. And you are not yet even as old as she was when she first adorned the purple. I see little point in comparing yourself to her as she is now, wouldn't you agree? Oh, Olivia. With the cheer? Holy! We martial artists tend to say that only those with the proper capacity can achieve this thing called unity of purpose. Even though with the greatest innate skill like say Walter only reached their peak through a journey of 1,000 steps. I think Her Majesty believes you have the capacity to get there, Princess. Just take it one step at a time. Don't worry. Olivia, Zin, thank you, really. Good job, you two. Chloe is going to be an awesome queen someday. I guess you get good with pep talks as you get older, huh? Get older? How rude. I'm a fresh, useful 25. I don't believe it. 5 years younger than Zin here, even. You're one to call out someone on being rude, Olivia. But anyway, we've spoken to Hilda and grandmother both, but he is 25. No. He looks a minimum 35. Yeah, back to town then, I guess. Yep, let's be off. Oh, okay. Maybe what they mean by tonight is probably after we go to the label news, I guess. Okay. So Chloe is still with us. It's a complete 2 hours now though. So might change game now. Wait, how do I go back? Over here then? Oh yeah, okay. No, it's not. Oh yeah, it is. And then go on. Where is the canteen? Oh, I do want to check the canteen as well. The dining. Was it bar? I don't remember. Is it canteen? Is it bar? Is it dining room? It's bar. Why, Your Highness Claudia, welcome home. Would you like something? I would be happy to prepare some tea. Nope. Can't even do that. Whoa, what is that? This is where they do the paperwork. Good luck, guys. I imagine my wife's enjoying non-stop fishing by now. At this rate, not only am I going to be worthless as a man, but my position as a husband will be in danger. Alright, if I just train in secret, I'm sure I can catch up to my wife. What? I don't know who your wife is. We're still cleaning up after the coup d'etat. Right now, I'm investigating the intelligence division's budget and their real expenses. From the looks of it, there are signs the budget was manipulated. Look at this money have gone to. Into the underground project. My duties are slowly normalizing, but I'm still quite busy. As ever, there are still many inquiries from the citizenry about the coup d'etat. I'm in charge of various kinds of reparations, but this is a mountain of problem to get through. Hey man! Good luck. What is this? Hey, what is this? A machine. I'm afraid Captain Schwartz isn't here right now. She is currently stationed at Lister Fortress. Oh, this is Captain. connected to the already state-of-the-art SCL can go even further. I wonder what kind of ship it'll become. It's a battleship, guys. Don't you guys realize it yet? We're gonna turn the passenger ship into a battleship. Evening already. Time does fly when you're having fun. Now you should be back by now, hopefully. Yeah, hopefully. Alright, let's get over there to the newspaper. What time do you normally wake up in the morning? 9. Well, also there's like a time where I could like wake up earlier than that. Sometimes 6, sometimes 7. Yeah, it's around that. Depends on when I fall asleep. Last night, yeah. So last night I sleep like really late, so I end up sleeping way more. My alarm is at 9. So usually, right after I wake up, that's when I go grab some food, get ready for streaming, stuff like that. Yeah, that's it. Scrolling through shorts, play games on my phone, something like that. Usually Uma Musume. I have a lot of times. Early in the morning, yeah. Is something the matter? And also, this is where the trees in the sky of this episode's gonna end. We'll continue on trails after this. We're gonna continue trails in the next episode. So thank you everyone for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye bye. I'm trying to figure out if I could work your schedule out so you could play the D&D. Oh, I've never played D&D, but I'm okay to join. It's just that I'm gonna be having a little bit of a hard time to understand some of it. Instruction. We learn through the process. Good. Okay. Good. So what is your D&D group time zone? Is it the same as you? Yeah, just the difference make things a mess. The time difference, the difference in the rules. It's okay. It's okay. Right. Save. Exit with the title. Two of us are in the east and one in the central one. Two of us are in east and one in central one. In the Pacific. Okay, that's gonna be a little tough. I think you did mention that last time you were playing at 6 p.m. No, 6 in the evening for your time, I think, right? The only way we could really do it if you woke up at 7. Oh, okay. I can if I determine set my alarm right there and then. So it's 7, okay.
Okay, I will say that I was still in the air. So it's like if you really like gonna invite me and you have not enough person, then I'm open to that. Also, if you have another person, you can prioritize them first, I would say. Still trying to work out details. I'm not even sure if that would work. I'll get with you more again. Okay, yeah, thank you. I'll be open, but you know, if you have like someone with a better time to work with, I would say prioritize them. Well, I had 4 last year, but 2 dropped, so I'm looking for 2 more. Okay, yeah, 2 more. Okay, that's gonna be really tough then. I'll let you know that I'll be open. Yeah. So I'm gonna be right back real quick, and then we're gonna come back and play NTE Neverness to Everness. I'll be right back real quick.